Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a video talking about palettes that I think are perfect for spring. I tried to pick some that you might already have in your collection. Some of these are a little bit newer, but I wanted to mix it up, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. My name is KARENHARRIS. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on YouTube. I do post quite often, so highly recommend subscribing, turning on that bell so you're notified every time I post, and without further blabbering, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start off with kind of a newer palette. This is the Harvest Moon palette from Ensley Rain, and the reason I picked this one is because even though it's a little bit more of a fall-ish palette, I love thinking of new growth, planting gardens, being outside in the spring and summer season. So that's what I picked this palette for. I just thought it's the perfect outdoor type palette. We've got some beautiful mattes here. All of them are kind of a little bit dark. So I was thinking of the garden after like a fresh rain, and you know how the sand is like a little bit muddy, and I was just thinking like tulips and being outside. So that was the reason I picked out this palette. I think that it's such a great two shadow eye look palette. You can just grab a really pretty matte and then throw on any of these beautiful multi-chromes on your lid and you're good to go. So if you're kind of looking at this, trying to figure out what kind of look to do, I always think just a beautiful matte in the crease and a beautiful multi-chrome on the lid could be your go-to look. But God, this is such a stunning palette, and I picked it as the first one for this video. Now, you can't think spring without a solid pastel palette, and even though Blend Bunny did this one for Halloween, this is their Sickly Sweet palette. I just think this is my perfect pastel palette because it does have some beautiful deepening up shades. These are very pigmented, beautiful pastels. We have some fun metallic shades as well, so you can really do a full look with this palette, or at least what I consider a full look with this palette. And it's also a great companion palette if you want to mix it with some beautiful kind of jewel tone eyeshadows as well. So yeah, I think this is a fun one for spring, and it's my favorite pastel palette in my collection. Okay, so I decided to do another one that kind of reminds me of gardening and being outdoors. This is the Ace Beaute Ambiance palette. I feel like it's been a while since I talked about something from Ace Beaute, but it's a beautiful kind of neutral leaning palette. We do have some great deepening up shades. We've got a nice light green, a dark green, so you can do a solid green eye look with this. I also love some of the fiery shades in this palette because here in the springtime we see some gorgeous sunsets. So it's another one that is kind of like the Ensley Rain color story, but definitely at a little bit less cost to you. It also doesn't have those special shades, but I think this one might be one that a lot of you might already have in your collection, so I wanted to include it. Okay, next I picked the Mount Verde palette from Nomad. This is just a fun, kind of chaotic rainbow type palette. I love all the fun green shimmers in this, all the fun pops of color. They're like almost neon, but not really. So this is a kind of fun party palette if you want to do a fun rainbow look or something with just like a pop of color on your lower lash line. This could be a fun one to check out, and I think this would be another one a lot of you already have in your collection. I think this one got discontinued. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. So yeah, if you have this one, definitely pull it out and try it for spring. Okay, this palette is so beautiful. I haven't talked about it in a while. It's the Serenity palette from Cosmic Brushes. Again, this is just a fun mix of shades. I love the greens, love the blues, love the purples. We've got some pastel shades down here, so you can do some really fun eye looks with this palette. I also love this like multi-chrome iridescent shade that they included in this palette. So I just love these like colors on the packaging, and I think this would give you a really good inspiration for the springtime. Also, this palette is affordable, which I love. So yeah, if you're balling on a budget, check out Cosmic Brushes. They have some really nice color stories and their palettes are usually under $30. Okay, I had to go on the higher end for this one, but I love this color story. This is the Unearthly Element 115 palette. Look at all these fun shades. I think this one reminds me a little bit of like Easter, and when you dye your Easter eggs, you know, you have these like watercolor effects, kind of like the special shades in this palette. Now, Adept is releasing a spring palette. It's called Cyborg Choir, I believe, and it looks absolutely stunning. Again, that one also has some beautiful shades that make me think of spring, but I don't actually physically have that palette in my hand, so I thought I would highlight this palette from them, and yeah, it's absolutely stunning. Okay, next we have another Halloween palette, but I think this one is fun for spring because of the fun bright greens in this palette, and I love the yellows. I think that yellow just reminds me of like sunflowers, which technically that's more of a summer thing, but just like new growth, new life. I see it here. We've got some gorgeous shimmers as well, and then if you kind of want to play with another fiery sunset look, you have those options as well. So I thought I would remind you guys to pull out your Halloween palettes and play with them. So this is her Trick or Treat palette. This was Oden's Eyes collab with Angelica last year for Halloween, and I feel like you don't have to let the season dictate what palettes you pull out, but it just reminded me of spring and warm sunshine. Okay, the Bard palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. Again, I just really love the yellows, and I thought this was kind of a fun neutral palette without being like super neutral. So that's why I picked this one out. I really went with the theme. I picked a lot of like these grungy yellows, some grungy greens, some of those fiery shades, because apparently that's what I'm feeling right now for spring. So yeah, this is a small palette, definitely the smallest one. It's only got 9 pans, but these Fantasy Cosmetica palettes really pack a punch. And I haven't talked about Bard in a while, so I thought I would pull it out. Okay, next we have the Be Perfect Carnival 3 palette. This is the Love Tahiti palette, and this is another one that just screams florals to me. I just love all the bright shades in here. It really kind of reminds me of this packaging. We've got all these fun, colorful, tropical plants, and of course the colorful eyeshadows always remind me of flowers and springtime and just beautiful bright shades. I also love like these greens, just reminding me of the new leaves and vegetation and grass. So I'm clearly very, very excited for springtime. I haven't used this one in a hot second, so if you have this like I do, this is your gentle reminder to pick up some older palettes and play with them. Okay, I figured we'd end this video with a bang and feature the Gourmand Girls and Steph's Beauty Stash palette. So this is the Nuevo Vida palette, and basically means new life. It has some really fun neon shades in it, as well as some like pastel-y colors, and then some beautiful shimmer shades. So this palette is such a good one because we have light shades, we have deepening up shades, which is usually my complaint with light palettes like this. I always feel like I can't deepen things up, and I need that for how I like to do neons and pastels. So I think they did such a good job with this. Hopefully it's still available when I post this video, but either which way, I just wanted to point this palette out, highlight it. It is a newer palette, so you know, forgive me if you don't have this one, but I just thought this was a fun neon palette, and I haven't really seen anything like this recently, so it was fun to see them do something a little bit different, a little bit unexpected in my opinion. Okay friends, so those are my 10 palettes for spring that you might already have. Let me know, let me know if you have any special palettes that you reach for in the springtime. I love reading what you guys have to say, so we'll see what palettes you guys mention. I'm always curious. Thank you guys for checking out this video, and I will see you in another one very, very soon. Bye!